Hey, what is up, mortals? Andres here, and before we get into today's video, there's something I'd like to say. I'd like to let you all know that we have a merch store. Some of the items in it are only available for a limited amount of time, so if you're interested, go into the description and check it out. Each purchase helps us make more content. Secondly, if you didn't know, only 25% of you guys are subscribed to us, so please hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the video. My Hero Academia is a series known not only for its many heroes, but also for its diverse cast of villains. One of the first major villainous threats that the hero students in Class 1A come across is the Nomu that All Might fought and defeated during the attack on the USJ. But what are the Nomu exactly? Where do they come from? How do they possess multiple quirks? Strap in, because we're about to dive deep into what makes the Nomu so terrifying and powerful. Beware that later on in this video, there will be a spoiler warning for the things shown only in the manga or in the Vigilante spin-off. If you haven't read either of those, we highly encourage you do so. Nomu are servants of All for One and the League of Villains, created as mindless slave soldiers to be commanded by Shigaraki and his subordinates. Designed as completely subservient and merciless, they are a force to be reckoned with for heroes and civilians alike. One of the most noticeable things about the Nomu is their weird and inhuman appearance, covered in scars and having the top portion of their brain completely exposed. Most Nomu have been shown to have lifeless pale olive colored eyes. However, some have extra eyes or have none at all. Some Nomu are also shown wearing some kind of respirator or face mask, though the purpose of this was never revealed. Looking past their looks, another immediately distinct thing about the various Nomu is that their bodies are able to possess multiple quirks. To this effect, there are actually multiple tiers of Nomu, each with a larger and more powerful set of quirks at their disposal. Starting off, we have the lower tier Nomu. These are the weakest and least dangerous variety. From what we've seen, they can actually possess up to 3 quirks, but may actually only have 1. While they may have an extra quirk compared to normal humans, they also have increased durability and strength as shown by their noticeably muscular physique, making them dangerous to civilians and weaker heroes. Examples we've seen are the 2 of the Nomu that attacked Hosu City just before and during Deku's fight with Stain, these being the winged Nomu that Stain killed and the 4-eyed one that Endeavor incinerated. Speaking of the winged Nomu, it is heavily implied that this Nomu used to be one of Bakugo's childhood friends named Tsubasa, though this was never explicitly confirmed. Side note, the classification of specific Nomu are somewhat difficult to pin down, as we may not have seen them utilize all of the quirks they possess. Lower tier Nomu are suspected to have much paler skin colors than their more powerful middle tier counterparts. Speaking of middle tier, they are denoted by a less pale skin color and appear to possess a larger number of quirks than lower tier. Most noticeably, however, they are much stronger and more durable, as well as being physically larger. We got to see one of these in action during the attack on the forest training camp, the large blue Hulk being shown to grow extra arms, each sprouting a chainsaw or other power tool on the end. It was also briefly seen during the raid on the Nomu factory before being apprehended by Mount Lady. Up next is the upper tier Nomu, which includes the first Nomu seen in the series. These Nomu have a distinct dark black or purple skin color with red scars and are far stronger than the previous tiers and were stated to be at least 10 times as strong as the average person. A quirk that seems to be common between all upper tier Nomu is a high-grade regeneration quirk that allows them to regrow lost limbs extremely quickly. The 2 upper tiers shown so far have been the USJ Nomu, who possess strength rivaling All Might and a powerful shock absorption quirk, and the Black Nomu from the Hosu incident, whose other quirks were never shown. At the end of Season 4 of the anime, we got to see our first glimpse of the strongest variety of the Nomu, the High End. These are quite special, as they are extremely intelligent, retain their own personalities, as well as being capable of speech. Their physical attributes as well as quirks are vastly stronger than the previous tiers, being shown to push even the strongest of heroes to the brink of defeat. Hood, the high end that Endeavor and Hawk fought, possessed at least 6 extremely strong quirks. Some of these, such as an unknown power-enhancing quirk, muscle augmentation, and regeneration, are shared with the upper tier. Quirks unique to Hood include the ability to absorb and deploy other creatures, which he used to send out a number of other Nomu, stretchable and transformable arms, used for longer ranged attacks, and jets that sprout from his shoulders to enhance movement and allow flight when combined with transforming his arms into wings. Hood himself was revealed to have been a former underground cage fighter, which justifies why even as a Nomu, he had an extremely strong desire to fight strong opponents. Before we get back into the dive, I would like to say that we've got a third channel called Anime Theory. Anime Theory mainly focuses on a large variety of mind-boggling anime theories. Now, in case you guys didn't know, we are a secondary channel to our main channel, We the Celestials. We the Celestials is full of fun what-if stories. If you have a strong sugar tooth for great storytelling, please give that channel a visit as well. If you are interested in the content we share with all channels, make sure you click the icon in the top right corner or check the description below for a link to the channel. Now, with that out of the way, let's get back into the dive. Here is where we get into spoiler territory for things only shown recently in the manga. During the hospital raid to capture Dr. Garaki, 5 high-end Nomu were released to combat the heroes. Of these, we see the first female Nomu, so far having shown the standard regeneration abilities, liquefaction, which allows her body to turn into a liquid, as well as rupture, which appears to cause the liquid parts of herself to explode after being thrown. As of the recording of this video, the other high-end's powers are difficult to decipher if shown at all. Quirks shown by the other high-ends include bone-like protrusions from the ribcage of one Nomu, a limb extension or transformation quirk similar to that of Hood, and one allowing the user to twist, manipulate, or otherwise mangle the limbs of another person. Also shown in the hospital raid are a couple of very small Nomu named Johnny and Mocha. These Nomu are vastly different compared to the others seen, as their bodies are completely inhuman. It is possible that they were created using animals instead of humans, though they do possess quirks. Johnny's quirk is called Warping and allows teleportation in a similar way to Kurogiri's Warp Gate. This quirk was seen in the anime during All Might's raid on the League of Villains hideout, allowing the League to escape with Bakugo despite being beaten and restrained. Mocha's quirk appears to be either a copy of Twice's double quirk or a different one able to function in a similar way to create clones of an individual. Moving back from the powers and descriptions of the Nomu overall, let's talk about how they're created. The Nomu themselves are a form of artificial life, created by Dr. Garaki through some surgical process to reanimate corpses with transplanted quirks. This means that mutant-type quirks such as with the winged Nomu are most likely inherent to the person whose body was used in the process. Other quirks that are commonly shared between the more advanced Nomu, such as the regeneration and enhanced strength abilities, are replicated or cloned to allow them to be passed onto more than one Nomu at any given time. According to Dr. Garaki himself, the process of creating a Nomu is not impossible without All for One's assistance, but is more difficult and takes a longer time. In addition to the surgeries, they require at least 3 months of time to stabilize, as well as an additional but shorter time period to stabilize after being activated, Hood being stated to have taken 10 hours to do so. The 5 high-ends released by the Doctor to fight Mirako and the other heroes were not given any time between their activation and combat, and at least one of them suffered side effects including loss of limb control as parts of their body were not actually reanimated yet. This could also have a similar effect with how Aizawa's quirk was damaged after his fight with the USJ Nomu, where their quirks may not be able to operate for long periods of time and may need time to rest before using them again. Now let's go over what is the most unique of all Nomu we've seen, Kurogiri. Before his arrest by Gran Torino, Kurogiri served as an advisor and bodyguard to Shigaraki. As a high-end Nomu, he possesses a great deal of intelligence and cunning, as well as having his own personality. His quirk, Warp Gate, allows him to generate portals to and from locations using the dark fog that his body emits. The limit to the number of portals he can make at one time is unknown, but it is at least 6, based off the number of groups the students during the USJ incident were separated into. This makes him excellent for transporting other villains to make a sudden entrance, as well as warping unwilling individuals such as heroes to split up their fighting force. Both of these are shown off during the attack on the USJ. Another use demonstrated is that attacks can be made through his portals, like when All Might was grappling the USJ Nomu. The portals themselves can also be used offensively, pushing a target partially through and then closing it on them to restrain them, cut off limbs, or possibly cut them entirely in half. His quirk itself is also unique compared to others seen in the series, as it is the result of an unknown number of quirks combining and fusing into one. The warping quirk held by one of the small Nomu, Johnny, may have been one of these. However, the only quirk we have specific knowledge on is from the original person whose corpse was turned into Kurogiri. Fair warning, this next part will feature some spoilers from the Vigilante manga regarding the identity and fate of this individual. This person was Aizawa, Midnight, and Present Mike's close friend and classmate, Oboro Shirakumo, hero name Loud Cloud. His quirk was called Cloud, and allowed him to generate clouds from his body used to obscure the vision of his enemies, or even be ridden to transport himself or others. Oboro, Aizawa, and Midnight were all interns together at a hero agency called the Purple Revolution Agency. During a fight with a villain, Oboro ended up sacrificing himself to save a group of children from a collapsing building the villain had damaged. Sometime after his death, All for One or one of his subordinates recovered Oboro's body and used him as the base for who would become Kurogiri. Kurogiri's true identity as having been Oboro was discovered after his arrest by Detective Sukayuchi and Gran Torino. Aizawa and Present Mike were requested to accompany them to interrogate Kurogiri. After the discussion got heated, Aizawa managed to provoke a response in Kurogiri. Eventually, Oboro's personality was able to take control for a brief period of time, showing that in at least the high-end Nomu who retain their intelligence, there may be a chance that the original person may not be permanently lost in the process. Thank you all for watching the video to the end. Now there are a few more things I'd like to go over. Firstly, I'd like to let you all know that we have a merch store. Some of the items in it are only available for a limited amount of time, so if you're interested, go into the description and check it out. Each purchase helps us make more content. Secondly, I'd like to thank our $5 Patreon supporters for helping to fund these videos. Lastly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank the writer for this video, as well as the editors for this video. Their details will be in the description. If you're a voice actor, editor, or writer, or you're interested in becoming one of those, go to the Discord that's in the description of this video and hit up the head of one of those areas. We're always looking for members to join us. That's it for today's video, so thank you all for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're interested, and hit that like button if you liked the video. Until next time, peace out, mortals. Have an amazing day.